It's DTS 201, and we're talking about Warmind after a full week of playing it. Warning, there's going to be some spoilers in today's show. All that and more coming up.
You're listening to Destiny, the show.
What's good, everybody, and welcome to the DTS podcast. My name is BBKDRAGOON. I'm joined, as always, by my great co-host, Ditty. What a week, dude. What a week. We got to play new Destiny stuff for the first time in a long time. How was your week?
It was pretty good. It was great. Like you said, I was actually very happy with new Destiny content, and it was, man, it felt good. It felt good to get back on the mouse and keyboard to shoot some hive in the face.
It
some
was
snow
really
thrall
cool.
in
Some
face.
snow thrall. That's right. Actually, the thrall the hive in general continue to be my favorite race in Destiny 2. They just look so stinking crispy and good.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, positive surprises abounding in Warmind, things that I didn't expect. Some areas that definitely matched my low expectations, and we'll hit on that today in the show. Really, in the show, we're going to talk about our impressions of Warmind. We're going to talk about what happened this week at Bungie, some of the main highlights, and then a little bit of news about some Monster Hunter stuff at the end of the show. But this Ditty today is not a spoiler-free show, correct?
That is correct. Just like our Discord server, spoilers are here.
All righty. Well, I would say we just don't waste time and we dive right into the Warmind stuff. Let's hit the news.
Let's go.
Well, before we can actually get into that Warmind Impressions, Ditty, we had this week at Bungie, really a light week, almost always on these launch weeks. It's a celebratory lap, but there is sort of a show match going down between Pope Bear and DMG. They're having a friendly, air quoting friendly here, 1v1 in Destiny 2 private matches, May 16th, 6 p.m. Pacific time, over on Bungie's stream. It's going to be DMG, the community manager, versus Pope Bear. I love Pope, but I have to say, I think my money is very heavily on DMG. I've seen DMG pull off some sick stuff on stream.
Yeah, well, on some of those reveal streams leading up to Warmind, DMG was showcased, and he held his own. He is
Absolutely
committed to the cause.
Totally. And then after that, you're going to have Team Destiny Community Podcast going against Team Bungie in a, did they say what it was going to be? A best of three. Okay, so they're going to play a best of three in private matches to see who the ultimate victor is going to be. On DCP, the team is Pope Bear, Miss 5000 Watts, Tefty Teft, and Briar Rabbit. And then over on Bungie, you've got DMG, Cosmo, Hamrick, and then a mystery fourth. But in the pre-show, Diddy, you and I sort of simultaneously said who we think it is, and that is
Our guide to the Destiny universe, Patrick Casey, or Holtzman.
I'm betting you it's going to be Holtzman. That would be so proper, since he now has officially joined Team Bungie. He's working with them for the next foreseeable future, and I just love what a freaking grudge match that would be. I will be deeply disappointed if it's not him, but it's got to be, right?
I would think that makes the most sense. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Who do you put your money on, DCP or Team Bungie?
Team Bungie, man. If it's Holtzman, DMG and Holtzman are going to carry that team to victory. I mean, they're very good.
I'm going to say Watts and Teft offer a very resounding force that could make this a tight bout. However, I do know Tefty is a wizard on the mouse and keyboard, and when they're in the studio, I guess they will probably be playing from home. So Tefty might be on PC on mouse and keyboard. Ditty, I might take this bet. I'm saying DCP, just because I was watching Tefty stream from Warmind, and he was going off in PvP, absolutely crushing it. I do think DMG and Patrick will be a tough fight, but maybe they're going to be in the Twitch studio, and they're going to be on controller. I don't know. I'm going to take it the other end of the bet, because that's what we have to do in a two-man podcast.
I mean, at best of three, so how many games are they going to take it to? You know?
I hope it goes to game 3. I really hope it's not a 2-0 sweep. You always want to see it go to that far.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much it for the TWAB. There are a bunch of known issues. If you guys are having any problems with Warmind that you've been playing at this last week, definitely check out This Week at Bungie. They've got a full list of that stuff. I know for the people who are doing heroic strikes, trying to complete a specific weapon quest line that I won't spoil here, make sure that when you're loading into the heroic strikes, if you can start the activity from orbit and not from a destination, that gives you a much better chance of having it actually start the heroic strike that will count. Because essentially, you need to complete X amount of heroic strikes with this weapon in your inventory for it to progress to the next step. And some players are doing heroic strikes and it's not counting. And the tips that I've heard thus far has been try making sure that you're launching the heroic strike from orbit and not a destination. You didn't run into that this week, did you, Ditty?
I didn't know. No, I've just been trying to level up and play some Escalation Protocol, but that is kicking my butt.
Well, let's talk about that, man. Let's hit on our Warmind impressions. First of all, this whole DLC, including Spire of Stars, the new ridiculously difficult and awesome raid layer, was all built by the folks at Vicarious Visions. Pretty dang cool, right?
Yeah, and they knocked it out of the park. I think they did a fantastic job. Even if, with Bungie's guidance, handing them the Destiny playbook and said, hey, go make this, they absolutely killed it.
Yeah, I really have to say, too, the quality of gameplay in Warmind from the strikes that have gotten to play, the 2 new strikes, are just awesome. Really, really awesome. And they made some steps here that remind me a lot of like a miniature Taken King, where lots of collectibles. You've got some of that post-story content to chase after in the form of weapons. And then on top of it, a very difficult raid layer, Spire of Stars, which we'll talk about here a little bit later in the show. And then Escalation Protocol, which is recommended power 370. So I'm betting the majority of our listeners this last weekend tried Escalation Protocol and couldn't even get past the first level of it. It's very difficult when you finish the story and you're, 340, 345-ish.
Mm-hmm.
It's super tough to get past that first ogre, man. I don't know. I do believe that Activision is grooming actively Vicarious Visions to play a much more pivotal role in Destiny content creation akin to a Call of Duty development cycle. It might not look the same as here's 3 years alternating kind of a thing, but normally, like when game companies hire places like Certain Affinity, right? Certain Affinity will build maps or multiplayer components of games all the time for lots of different studios. They're sort of like the ghost writers, or, they just help complete these large work tasks, but you don't normally see them getting huge play in the press, whereas Vicarious Visions gotten to see a lot of their name dropped on Twitter. When you look at the ArtStation pieces that their artists have been creating, it says Bungie and Vicarious Visions next to it with the Destiny 2 logo. And beyond that, the Vicarious Vision people, I think, obviously played Destiny 1 during some of its high times, evident by, look at the ARG. That ARG puzzle we'll talk about here as well, like real world puzzle that is super stinking cool, that gave the secret community something to unlock, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That I can't wait to talk about that in just a second after our impressions, but it's pretty neat.
So story-wise, I was not surprised. Let's put it to you that way. I would say the length is completely on par with Curse of Osiris. It's unfortunate, 5 missions in total, 2 of which are the strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Then one of them, which was like a hidden sector. So you really only had 2 of these original missions, and it definitely felt like the pacing was very odd. However, the final cutscene, Ditty, to their credit, Rasputin is the first character in Destiny 2 that I think has completely lived up to the hype in my mind. When he first starts talking to you and it's like, Rasputin, like, it was chills. It was like, okay, this is a freaking sweet character. And Ditty, they did not violate the thing that you dislike the most, where they wrap up the entire narrative of a character in a single 2-hour storyline. It really wasn't a Rasputin-based storyline, granted, but I have to admit I'm desperately thankful that Vicarious Visions did not wrap up the whole Rasputin storyline in about 2 hours. You know what I mean? This just sort of opened the can of worms of this.
A can of worms? Is that a pun?
No, it was intentional. Completely intentional. That's why I paused.
So Yeah, like you said, I'm very pleased that Rasputin has persisted after this expansion, right? He's still there. We still don't know a lot about him. I certainly would have liked to learn more about
Yeah.
Rasputin.
Yeah.
As opposed to, hey, let's go talk to Rasputin. Oh, but wait, let's do some hive killing. And then, hey, there's Rasputin at the end. Okay. Sure. Let's do it that. Like you said, it was very choppy. However, Rasputin's still a mystery. Yes. Thank you. And by the way, all those Rasputin voice lines, someone pulled audio clips of it so you can put it as your ringtone or text message tone or email tone. So if you really want to freak out some of your coworkers or some of your classmates, change your message tones to these voice lines, and so your phone just goes off and just screaming Russian at everybody. It's pretty funny.
It was a cool moment. I had to laugh because when you first open the door up to the Warmind and it's literally Zavala standing there. Surprise! Like, I half expected Zavala to start dropping the memes. Speaking of which, Zavala has become a straight-up meme. I can't look at him seriously anymore at all. You know what I mean?
Whether we wanted it or not, we've stepped into war with the Cabal on Mars.
Dude, they did a Zavala trumpet boy meme using that audio.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
incredible.
That is awesome.
Okay, but I know some of the lore people were very upset at how rapidly like Zol and Nokris were handled, and certain elements there, like when Nokris sucks the stuff from you, and it's all of like 3 seconds, then you're back on your feet. Mute Guardian says nothing. So I know some of the lore guys are gutted at how quickly and hastily some of these characters were intertwined. But me, myself, not being a lore guy, was just very happy that it wasn't like Osiris, where it's like, thank you, Guardian. I'm leaving now forever. And you're like,
Peace
wait,
out.
you were a big deal. And that was not suffice for a character of your gravitas, my dude.
To be fair, Osiris said he's in the Infinite Forest if we ever need him again.
Just come back and do the
then he
DLC once more to find me.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so I really liked when after we defeated Nokris, right, and Zol, the Worm God, came out. I really liked that cutscene in between those two fights. I got really excited at the potential that cutscene was about to provide.
Yeah.
And then I just went to defeat the Worm God in the next mission, which was really disappointing. But like, that's the kind of feel I want. I'm like, oh my God, this Worm God just appeared and I'm dying, or I'm disappearing into nothing. So yeah, let's do more of that, please, because that is awesome. I like that a lot.
Hellaspace in the new zone is infinitely better than Curse of Osiris. Okay. See, did you get it? Did you? I'm trying to pause again.
Yep, got it.
No, but for real, Hellas Basin is amazing. Like, I actually really do enjoy that location. It feels more akin to a quality zone in D2. I would love more public events. I would love, like, tons of new public events.
More Escalation Protocol.
And Protocol is pretty awesome, but I think I've not had enough time with Protocol because I'm at, like, 349, so unless I have a boatload of other people around, it just stomps me. And even if I do have enough people around, it just stomps me. So it was a great zone, though, visually for me. I thought it was awesome. What about you?
I thought it was really great. It was not as disappointing as Mercury was, so I think that's a plus.
2 tokens and a blue, baby.
Yep, exactly. I think Escalation Protocol is great. I think every destination should have it.
Oh, that's super smart.
However impractical that may be in terms of the lore, but I think that was super great because it was. Do you remember in Destiny 1? What's the space in the Cosmodrome? Dang, I can't remember. I forget what it's called, but it's where a warsat would come in, and then the Fallen and the Hive could move against each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I know what
it
you're
was
talking about.
Yeah, so it's over there, right?
It's right by the loot cave.
Yes, that space. I really forget the name of the sector, but anyways, it felt like Escalation Protocol is a warsat public event happening in that location, and the enemy is moving against one another. Mm-hmm. It's like they took that idea and made it a game mode in a patrol space. And yeah, it's not horde mode, but It's really challenging. It's an end game activity, and I wish it match made faster and better, so I could actually get some people together to actually complete it, because I have a lot of fun doing it, even though I never win because it's so challenging. But that's a good thing. I like the challenge there.
Yeah, I think we need to hit on that, though. It should be match made. There doesn't seem to be a very great reason why it is not match made for me, even if they want to keep it on the public space. And I know technically this is probably very difficult, but if you're not going to match make it from orbit, create a mechanic like Rally to the Flag, except Rally to the Flag will pull in all the other people who have just ticked a little flag that said, I'm ready to do Escalation Protocol, because we can't load into patrol spaces with 9 people. That would be awesome. I wish we could do that.
Or even 6, you know?
Mm-hmm. And this activity is hard, is cool, actually, and I think a lot of us would want to run this thing on repeat. However, waiting for that perfect time and place where you're going to get a lot of folks together, or even, quite frankly, I don't think we should have to wait at all trying to look for somebody else. If I want to go play this cool mode, matchmake it, period. And I like what you said, too. Put this on every destination and have the enemy types associated with it. That might be, like you said, too much of a heavy lifting activity for that to occur, but props to VV and Bungie, I think, for actually gating the power level so far out for it. It's like a carrot at the end of the stick, where there probably are going to be a ton of people who bought Warmind Ditty who never even play Escalation Protocol. But for the people who do progress their light over the course of a few weeks with milestones to get there, they're going to get this something that's like, when I finally get through it and all of it, I'm going to be like, cool, that's nice. I want to come back and try it next week.
It's kind of intelligently placed as well. Even though it is the patrol space, it's in a public space, doesn't match make very well. It's in a space where you're doing one of the middle story missions. So if by accident you happen to get in an instance where Escalation Protocol is happening, you get to experience that activity without completing the campaign while you're a low level. So it kind of eases people into it and says, oh, this is really hard. I want to be able to do this.
That's super
How do
smart.
I do that? And it might be on accident. It might be intentional, but I think it's just fortunately very intelligently placed of where the location is and where that story mission is. You're able to pick that up. So yeah,
I love the way you phrase that, because it reminds you of that time when you loaded in D1 in solid question marks above the enemy's head.
In
and
Venus,
then it just nuked you. Yeah,
I saw the Praetorian. I'm like, what is that enemy? And so I walk up. He just shoots me, one shots me in the face. It's like, what is this?
I love
what
that
is this mystery that I have not uncovered yet? I love that.
You're like the Padawan, and you see like the ninjas fighting over there, and you're like, I need that. And then one day you become a Master Jedi in return. But
sometime after House of Wolves, just real quick, we were running Vault of Glass, and we're doing the first time, and this legend in patrol just came up with one of those Scorch cannons and said, hey, Here you go. And just we let us use it for the first part of the Vault of Glass, and it was great. So if I remembered your name, I'd shout you out, but I'm sorry. So thank you, kind Guardian.
The collectibles are cool. They offer some post-game reasons to continue playing. The weapons to go after are pretty cool also. I think it's a much improved idea upon the Curse of Osiris, hey, just go grind to get these materials kind of thing. But the ARG puzzle, dude, is just something that cements to me that Vicarious Visions truly gets or has a passion for Destiny, and they know kind of about the level of veracity that the community likes to solve puzzles and riddles. So I was just blown away when that guy went into the woods after solving the puzzle, and there it was, you know?
Yeah, so just for context, we're just going to briefly go over this. We're not going to go into details as to which things happened in which parts of the puzzle, but I just want to shout out everyone over on the subreddit Raid Secrets. It's a community dedicated to finding secrets within Destiny and solving them. And I'm not going to be able to name everyone involved with solving this, but I'm just going to list off a few of them here who have been cited as references for puzzle pieces. Jeremy Witten, Patty Tibau, Chiller, D. Shostabrovich, R. Paul V, certain Personio, there we go, Sergeant Slash, Happy Horatio, Hovano, the Lolris, and Randomizer. They found basically what the puzzle was. There's things in game, right? there was this image with 5 keys around it, and like a chest or a vault that you needed to unlock, and you needed to solve each of the 5 puzzles to be able to unlock the final reward. And everyone I named there was cited as having evidence for each key or each cipher to decode this message. And the message is theorized to be from the Exo Stranger. That's not confirmed, but from Bungie or Vicarious Visions. But they said, thank you for deciphering this puzzle, blah, blah, blah. Here's coordinates. And it's real world coordinates somewhere in upstate New York, off the beaten path, off of a trail that you can walk. And at those coordinates are a bag of coins, not strange coins, but gold coins specific to Warmind. And there was a real life, full-sized Valkyrie javelin. And it was that was the first come first serve item. So the first person who found it is able to own that. And then if you visit this location, the coordinates, if you can safely travel through the terrain, you can get one of those coins and mark your name in a book. There you go.
That's so cool. That's so cool, dude. Like, when I saw that post, I couldn't believe it this last week. It was just like, and you also had Vicarious Visions leaving, their signage on the note, actively involved in this.
You want to read the decoded message? This is the thing that gave us the coordinates.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to piece this message together, friend. The time of our final conflict is drawing closer, and you and Anna have an important role to play in the events to come. So watch over her, Guardian. I would have no life without Anna or the Exo program. I regret that we have become strangers, but we each have a path that we must walk. And ironically, there never seems to be enough time. Tell her Rasputin's first attempt was in the right location, but the wrong moment. Look here. And it gives the coordinates.
Now, that transitions exactly into what I want to talk about, because do you know who is giving that message?
Yeah.
It's the Stranger.
Yeah, the Exo Stranger. Yeah, theorized to be the Exo Stranger there. Yeah.
And it gets better because throughout the lore for the Eon Drive Sparrow, and also Anna Bray has the same logo the Exo Stranger has on her shoulder and on her head. It is very, very, very strongly hinted that Elsie Bray is the Stranger. Anna Bray's sister is the Stranger from D1, Elsie Bray. Now it's not 100% confirmed, but dude, you can go through lots of the lore for the Eon Drive Sparrow. I'll quote here. I've forgotten what this place looks like. It feels like only yesterday I had a badge and a desk. Not a lot survived, but somehow this old thing is still around. If you've come this far, we have a lot in common. You feel that same drive to see something through to the end, don't you? I've never been the sentimental type, but at this point, I'm a stranger to my own nature. It just feels right that I'm back for now. By the time you read this, we'll have just missed each other. I've run the simulations and I can't stay. Not yet. Take care of her for me. End quote. So I have some theories about this, Ditty, which is really stinking cool. And there is more connection between the Elsie Bray and the Anna Bray thing with the Stranger that you can check out. We'll put show notes. Somebody on Reddit years ago on Raid Secrets, dude, put out a massive explanation 2 years ago saying Exo Stranger is actually Elsie Bray. That was 2 years ago, okay? So, was Luke Smith just, I don't know, messing with us when he basically said that her story was completely wrapped up? What I think happened is Luke Smith just sort of offhand made that remark, not knowing what kind of a negative impact it would have with the lore community. And Vicarious Visions or the Bungie writers noticed the negative response with the lore folks, put together this connection between the two of them to, I don't know, maybe make up for it? Or do you think this was planned from the start?
I really think that it might be a response to the community reaction to Luke Smith saying that.
Yeah.
Because, obviously the Exo Stranger was not wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow, right? Still a huge mystery. And this ciphertext and the flavor text that you just read is like, yeah, okay, Exo Stranger, yeah, definitely connected in some way to Anna Bray, and that it would make a lot of sense that that's true. Yeah.
It's cool though. That's the kind of stuff that we didn't see with Curse of Osiris. You did not have this level of, I don't think, thought and care going into just these additionals. Whether or not we'll see Exo Stranger and Anna Bray intertwined in the future, I don't know. I think they are setting Anna Bray up. Obviously, Rasputin's being set up to play a more pivotal role. I got the sense that Rasputin will probably be a centerpiece for the Taken Queen this fall. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
Maybe Warmind Part 2. PvP.
I mean, I just want to say before we move on, one of the ciphers was, as a music nerd, this was really cool. One of the ciphers was a reference to Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake, and it was like, when I saw that, I was like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about, because Tchaikovsky is one of my favorite composers for classical music, and it's just to see that kind of detail in this code was really nice to see as a musician. It was really neat.
Totally. All right, for the PvP side of things, I played a handful of quick play stuff. I didn't actually dive into the competitive side of things. So I'm not going to be able to give you guys detailed feedback or impressions on the glory side of the ranking system. Unless I put in, I don't know, 30 to 50 matches, I don't think I'll be able to give a detailed, like, this is what I like about glory and this is what I dislike about glory. But on the Valor side of things, I think it adds a nice missing part of the puzzle that Destiny has needed that definitely rewards, and it makes it feel more worthwhile to be out there playing quick play. Overall, I think Warmind, if you liked elements of Destiny 2, I'm not saying if you liked it as a whole, I'm saying if there were elements that you liked in Destiny 2 and you still have an affinity for the series, it is far and away light years better than Curse of Osiris. Vicarious Visions put in definite care. However, Bungie did give them the playbook on this. There are shortcomings left, right, and center when it comes to the structure of how these DLCs are made. But if you align with those notions that I said before, it's probably worthwhile to pick up. And that's for the player who has friends to play with. Just solo experience, I'd have a hard time selling it to you. But for the people who've already been burned out on Destiny, I think you're still waiting for the fall before I can say shell out $20 for something like this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Fall is where it's going to be at, and yeah, we'll see you there.
This is the first noticeable tone shift so far, though. This is the first time where it feels like, oh, these are, yeah, okay. This feels different than the micro steps we were taking. This feels more akin to, like I said, a miniature Taken King. Take that lightly, guys. I'm just saying it had collectibles, okay? But you know what I mean, Ditty? It feels like there was something different about this.
Yeah, there was a great analogy posted by Skill Up about Warmind, about how there's this massive ship that took 5 miles to stop and 2 miles to turn. And that, I think that was like the most accurate analogy to the Destiny 2 train or ship that I've ever heard. It was great. You guys should check it out. Yeah. Like we've got so much momentum. It's going in one direction. We're trying to make the changes. You can kind of tell, but fall's going to be where it's at.
We didn't mention this, but before we wrap up, Spire of Stars, ultra difficult. It is going to remain for the next few weeks, something that only the upper echelon of raiders are completing. I freaking love seeing that. It is so cool. I know a lot of the day one raiders were exhausted, but by the time you had Redeem taking the world's first, it was just like, I love that level of challenge in Destiny for the full upper end player base. I mean, these guys who are diehards. I mean, what was Redeem's time? Was it like 4.5 hours?
It was many hours, yes. It was not quick.
I'm going to look it up, Ditty. I got to know. I got to remember. So, Redeem, you know who's on that clan squad. It's a regular for us.
Yeah, they've been world first before in one of the previous raids. They are definitely top tier raiders.
So 394 minutes. I was way off by that. I'm sorry. That's 6.5 hours, guys.
minutes, yes.
Yeah, 6.5 hours for World's First.
And it was something
then
like
there's many
11,000
teams
kills or something.
Yeah,
11,000
total kills 11,864. Total deaths 598. There were a lot of teams who didn't even finish on day one, who had to go back the next day after like 10 hours of raiding. And I remember when you guys were doing
Gonna rub it in my
Fall
face.
Day one.
Rub it in my face. Golgoroth for 6 hours, and we finally beat it. And then we hit the daughters, and I said, okay, I need to go to bed.
It was a long day. Before we wrap up, Ditty, for the Monster Hunter fans, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is coming to the Nintendo Switch this fall.
Nice.
Very excited about that, and it's just cool to see. They've had it out in Japan for like a year now, a little bit over a year if you're on the DS side of things. It was called Double Cross. I didn't think it was going to get localized. It's getting localized August 28th. You can play Monster Hunter on the Nintendo Switch. Super cool. All right, where can people find your content, Ditty?
Twitter.com/DittyDTS, DITTYDTS, and YouTube.com/Wooshness, WOOOSHNESS.
You can follow us on Twitter at Destiny the Show. Join our Discord at discord.me/Destiny the Show. There's not many links from this week, but you can definitely check out whatever links that were talked about today on destinytheshow.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at BBKDRAGOON on all those platforms. Have a great week, Guardians. Enjoy Warmind, and we'll be back again to talk with you next time.